How you feel about this right now?
I don't know if I'm more excited that we won the third cup in 6 years or getting Richard Roeper.
All right, there's the man right there.
Somehow that spectacular bromance moment between Patrick Sharp and some goofball didn't make it into the final version of Hat Trick, which is the new DVD about the 2014-2015 Chicago Blackhawks, Stanley Cup champions, third championship in 6 years for the Blackhawks. They spend about 10 or 12 minutes walking us through the playoffs and, of course, the Blackhawks' spectacular run there. But what I love about these DVDs, they did a similar thing in 2013, is we get a lot of behind-the-scenes footage. Right after the Blackhawks clinched on home ice for the first time in 77 years against the Tampa Bay Lightning, they clinched, the team and the key members of the organization were in the locker room, and they kept the doors closed for a while before letting family and friends and the media in. But now, thanks to Hat Trick, we get to see some great moments behind the scenes. Joe Quenneville, Coach Q, who's usually a fairly controlled kind of guy, seems to be letting loose here. We get some really neat parade and rally footage. What I like about this is a lot of times we're seeing what the players were seeing when they looked out onto the hundreds of thousands, maybe even more than 1 million fans who lined the city streets of Chicago to see them, or the 60,000 fans plus who are in Soldier Field. But then comes my favorite part of Hat Trick, and that's when we go with a number of different players as they journey back to their hometowns with the Stanley Cup. And I'm telling you, the Cup has more passport stamps than James Bond has in Spectre. They're in Ontario, they're in Winnipeg. The Cup goes to Sweden, it goes to Finland, it goes to Prague, it goes to Connecticut. Some really, really great moments. One of my favorite moments is when a group of Swedish school children sing a song about the Stanley Cup, in which we learn that there's something about cows, and then it's a lovely old vase. I don't know what's going on. It looks like something out of a Monty Python movie, but it's hilarious. There's also a couple of really touching moments, particularly when we learn a little bit about the background of Scott Darling, who actually grew up in Lamont, which is a suburb of Chicago, and he had a lot of problems with alcoholism in his late teen and early 20s, and it looked for a while like he wasn't going to be in the game. And at one point, he lists all the hockey clubs he's been with, including finally and ultimately the Chicago Blackhawks. And I love the behind-the-scenes stuff with Captain Sirius himself, especially when his mom says maybe, just maybe, he's going to be able to shed that nickname. So I'm assuming that if you're from Minnesota or Nashville or Tampa Bay, you're probably not going to be a huge fan of Hat Trick. But if you're a Blackhawks fan from Chicago or from Sweden or from Finland or from around the corner, if you love the Blackhawks, you're going to love Hat Trick. Very cool DVD.